This year we tried a couple of different things, which some people might think of as novelty plants, because they're miniature versions. And we did two different ones. We did the mini pops, which are little sweet corns that you harvest at around 2 to 3 inches. And then you can just eat them in salads or chuck them onto a barbecue. And they didn't seem to do as good as I hoped. We've had a couple of them, but the plants are supposed to give between 3 and 5 per plant, and so far we've only had one off each. But there's another one that we tried, which is called Jack Be Little, and it's a miniature pumpkin that grows to about 3 or 4 inch, so it'll easily just fit in palm of your hand. But the good thing about these plants is they can produce anywhere between 5 and 10 miniature pumpkins per vine. And apart from looking amazing, being so small, they are still edible and they're actually quite sweet. And we've got a couple of plants growing at the moment. We've got 2 or 3 just outside this greenhouse, and we've got one that we put in a container to grow up a trellis just to see how it would do. And it's actually done better than the ones in the ground. And it's got a pumpkin on it at the moment which is virtually ready to pick because it's turned orange. And we've got 2 or 3 on the plants out here that are quite a bit smaller. But the thing is, with these plants, everything requires a little maintenance. And because they're quite similar to a cucumber plant, you've got to watch out for things like powdery mildew. Because things like melons, pumpkins and cucumbers are more susceptible to that disease, and once it takes over it will spread from leaf to leaf and start to kill all these leaves off. So at the first signs of any leaves starting to discolour, turn yellow, what I do is I go out and I cut them away, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to be the leaves at the bottom, which you don't really need anymore. So if you keep on top of that maintenance, this vine will keep putting out more vines and growing longer and longer and produce more fruit. So for sake of a couple of minutes maintenance, it's definitely worth the effort. Let's go and take a look at this plant. So just outside that greenhouse we've got a Jack Be Little plant here, and it's doing okay. It's growing up this trellis and it's got an half decent size pumpkin on it, but it's still yellow at the moment. This plant next to it hasn't got any on it at the moment. There is still time. And then down here we've got another plant, and this has got a smaller one than that other plant, but this one's already starting to turn orange. And if you look right on the end of this plant, there's another one growing as well. So the best thing to do is pin these up so they're not getting damp off the ground all the time. And I think they'll do a lot better. Now let's go and have a look at this one that we've got growing in a container. And that's this one. And you can see the difference in size of this plant. But also, look at that amazing little pumpkin that's on there, and it's started to turn orange. And it's put out more and more vines from that main stem, which are leading off in different directions, so we're tying them up as they grow. And on the end of this one there's another one starting to grow, and this is one plant that we did. And again, this side it's put out another vine, and some of these flowers are males and then some are the females. So that will get some, and we'll need to pin this up as well, keep it off the ground. It'll do a lot better that way. even if we just hook it over like that, it's off the ground. And maintenance with these plants is definitely key, because as it puts out fresh growth like this, the older leaves start to die off, and you need to get rid of those. So basically what I like to do is remove all these bottom leaves, because they're the ones that's going to be sat on the ground and they're going to rot. And although some of these leaves look quite healthy, we need to keep the bottom area as clear as we can, or else they'll start doing this and you'll not see them. And it's got plenty of new things growing. So if we just work our way back, we can take those away. Little yellow one there, get rid. And I'll just keep doing this until I've took away every leaf that don't look 100%. The plant will thank you for it. You wouldn't have noticed that if you'd not removed all this bottom part. And just keep going and cut them as close to the vine as you can. But be careful not to cut the vine itself. This one's not in best of condition, it's starting to yellow, so we'll get rid. There's nothing wrong with your plant, it's just served its purpose, so you need to take it away. Even these big ones at an higher level, that's no good anymore. Take it off. Again, hidden. You wouldn't have seen that if you'd not removed all this. Now that's just withering a little, which means it needs some water. So that was just a couple of minutes clipping, and we've took away all those. And now that plant looks much better. And it's going to create much better airflow around this stem where it needs it. And we can put sticks in just to hold these bits up as well. Although you can actually grow these to vine across ground, but we're doing it like this to see how it gets on. And judging by that, it's a very happy plant. And while I'm down here, I'll just check these peppers. Not quite ready, but they are ripening, so they'll not be long at all. Other containers that we've got seem to be doing really well, and at the weekend we're going to go out and get a lot more containers and start off them autumn plants that we've been talking about. And this is that pepper plant that we dug up and repotted only the other day. I was worried that the transplant shock might cause it not to survive, but it's picked up, which is brilliant. These peppers we've got in the greenhouse and all, looks like we've got a ripe one there, so we'll take that one off anyway. I have got a couple more in the kitchen that we harvested the other day, so we've now got 3 or 4 of these ripe sweet bell peppers, so that's enough for us to make a nice little meal up. But while I'm in here, we'll check the others. Got a nice red chili pepper that we can take off. All these little bits of harvest every few days are always welcome. And they're making us 3 meals. As you'll see, if you go on my cooking channel, there is a link in the description. You'll see we make lots of lovely meals out of this homegrown produce. This one, not quite ready, but again, maintenance. That leaf was starting to yellow. We don't want them on. And we've already done a video on plants like this. Once they get to that age where they're fruiting and you've got really low hanging leaves, take them all off. In case you missed that video, it's just a simple case of cutting them all back up to about a height of 5 inch of stem. And you're not going to hurt your plant at all doing this. You're actually helping it. And I'm making it a nice cleaner plant, just the same way we've done with that pumpkin plant. And you're just creating much better airflow. And soil contains pathogens which can get into your plant, but they get in through the leaves, not the stem. So by keeping this area clear, there's less chance of disease. And it took a few seconds. And now there's going to be more energy going into these peppers to ripen them, which ultimately is what we're after. So that little wander down the garden shows you how amazing these miniature pumpkin plants are. I think they're great, and I'll definitely be growing some more of those next year because they've not been difficult to grow. And you get these cute little bright orange pumpkins. And the fact that you can also grow them in containers, which this year has proven they've done much better in that container than they have done in ground. So anybody who's doing small space or container gardening has got no problem growing themselves some of those Jack Be Little miniature pumpkins, which I'm sure are going to be a hit with children on Halloween. And that added bonus of they are also edible. Bit of maintenance every few days, keep your eye on them and they'll grow perfectly fine. And don't forget that plants like cucumbers, melons, pumpkins are very heavy feeders, so you need to keep giving them a decent feed at least every 14 days so they can keep producing these fruits for you, which I think this week is my time to go around everything and do that exact thing. And by doing that, it's going to guarantee us to keep getting really good healthy fruits right up until the end of the season. Although it was very tempting to take that pumpkin with it already being orange, I think it's got another week or so in it to continue ripening. Normally you'll see the stems that's attaching them to the vine start to go darker as that fruit becomes oranger. So that's kind of a clue as to when it's going to be ready. And if you are growing these, when it comes time to harvest your pumpkins, just make sure you leave 2 inches or so of stem when you cut it off, because then it will store a lot better. And if you're interested in seeing what else we harvest, what else we sow and grow over the next few months, then please just hit that subscribe button and press the notifications bell, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching.